Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
We are Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. We love installing custom AUTOSOUND's products in vehicles in our studio, but we really love getting to visit our friends at Custom AUTOSOUND when we go to California. We're in their facility today, and we've seen all kinds of stuff. R&D, we've seen all the packaging, we've seen how everything gets done here at Custom AUTOSOUND. We got to talk with Kurt Bengston. He's a product expert, and he got to show us some of the great stuff going on here at Custom AUTOSOUND. Kurt, I was downstairs in the warehouse, and I saw row after row, shelf after shelf, thousands of radios from Custom AUTOSOUND. How many different makes and models do you have radios for?
Our radios we can make fit for over 450 different classic car applications.
Wow, and you brought some of your more popular ones upstairs here to show us here. And this one is familiar. This is would be like in a GMC square body type truck here, and a great looking analog display, and that becomes digital when you turn the power on.
That's exactly correct.
Very cool. And then this one, obviously for Chevy.
For a 55 Chevy, correct.
And then this one, obviously for a Mustang, but there's some cool technology here that you showed me. It's called the DigiDial.
The DigiDial, correct. This is our newest model called the USA 850. Number one, what I like to talk about is it has 6-volt RCA pre-outs.
So good for audiophiles. This is
exactly.
What you want.
If you're going to run amplifiers, it has 6-volt RCA pre-outs. And it has 6-volt dual left and right subwoofer pre-outs if you're going to add a subwoofer and you want to rattle your neighbor's windows. But the highlight of the USA 850, I think, is the DigiDial display. Now, most radios have either an LCD or LED alphanumeric display. This is more of an OEL display, almost like a display like your phone. You'll notice on this display right here, it's got your RDS information, and it's got kind of an analog look at the bottom there, and you can see how the dial goes across, okay?
Very cool.
Now, you can change this, kind of a blend of the analog classic look with the RDS information.
A little bit of a hybrid there.
That's correct. But my favorite display on this piece is this classic look. You've got your AM and FM frequencies that run horizontally across the black background, and as you tune it, you'll see the red needle go across.
Wow. Just like the good old days, driving around in Mom and Dad's 78 Fairmont.
That's exactly correct.
Fantastic. But it's got Bluetooth, and it's got
built-in Bluetooth. Yeah. It has a USB port for a flash drive that will also charge your phone. It has an RCA auxiliary in the rear, and it has a plug for our single CD player if you still have CDs.
And of course, you make radios that fit the original openings in the dash for all the different makes and models. But I know, back in the 80s and stuff, when people were starting to get these cars handed down from Mom and Dad, they wanted to put aftermarket stereos in it. And that meant cutting up the dash and getting rid of those stock openings. So what if you get your hands on a vehicle where someone's done that and you don't have the stock openings to put a radio in?
Well, that's a good point. Say you have a 68 Chevy truck and somebody's cut that opening for the 7-inch wide by 2-inch high hole. You've got the USA 4 DIN here. Now this piece has the classic look, and it will fit that opening just fine. The unique thing about this piece is, number one, the Bluetooth feature in particular will allow you to answer your hands-free calls. And if you have like Sirius XM app or the Spotify app or the Pandora app on your phone, you'll be able to transmit that music wirelessly to the radio. It has the USB port for the flash drive. It has an auxiliary input. But if you're still married to CDs, you still have the CD player. Now this is a fairly common piece, but it's definitely got the classic look.
Custom AUTOSOUND has amazing looking radios that are going to look great in your car. It'll keep that original look, but give you all the modern conveniences you want. Custom AUTOSOUND MFG. By the way, quality radios. These are all tested in-house before they ship to you. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. So do not touch that dial. Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, Shade Wagon, throw some shade, and by DragonFireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. This is Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now, your car or truck, it costs you a ton of money. You want to protect it. You want it to last a long time. The paint is the first thing people see, Justin. So what's a great way to protect your paint?
So there's a couple ways to protect your paint, and that's with ceramic coatings, waxes, or other sealants.
And at Mont Detail Shop, you have ceramic coating, which we'll talk about. You also brought your graphene spray. And what does that do? Why are folks going to love the graphene spray from Mont Detail Shop?
So it's easy to use, it's long lasting, and it's extremely hydrophobic.
All right, let's talk about ease of use here. We brought this truck in from the parking lot. We didn't do anything to it. And what did you have to do to apply the graphene spray?
So we just taped it off, I sprayed it on, and I wiped it on.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of other waxes and things you really have to work at, but this one's great for somebody like me who's always on the run with kids and everything else. That's perfect. And it looks great, by the way. And the second thing is it's long lasting. How long is this going to last once I apply it?
So it should last around 6 months, just for one pass over.
That's incredible. And how much am I going to get out of one bottle?
If you're spraying just one car, your personal vehicle, you'll get almost 2 years out of it.
Very cool. So it's well worth the money. And in here, again, we just brought this out of the parking lot. We didn't do any prep work for it. That graphene grabs onto the paint. How can we make it grab on better and make the coating even last longer?
So it bonds to decontaminated paint. So if you really wanted to, you can clay bar, polish, and everything to get more time out of it.
Very cool. And you mentioned hydrophobic. What are hydrophobic properties? Why is it important when it comes to a spray or some kind of coating you're using on the car?
So when it comes to protecting your paint, you want a slick surface so you're not scratching it. If the surface is rough, then you will cause more scratches with all the dirt on it. So the more slick it is, the less scratches it'll cause.
The easier the dirt's going to slide right off, and everything's going to slide off with the water there too. You got to remember, these little particles it's like sandpaper. They
exactly
have sharp edges, so you're going to make micro scratches every time. And hydrophobic means that it's going to break the surface tension and let the water and everything slide right off.
Exactly.
Which is super cool. Now, also down on the wheels, this worked great there to clean the wheel. We saw half and half there. The side you clean looks great, and it's also pretty apparent there at the bottom. You can see the water running right off the wheel. And that's really important with a wheel, because otherwise you're going to get a puddle there, and that's where the mud and dirt collect and everything.
Right.
So you're going to kind of get permanent dirt on the wheel. It's going to be a lot harder to clean.
Yeah.
And it's not going to last as long.
Right.
So that covers the graphene spray, and that's super simple to use. But you started Mont Detail Shop with a ceramic. Tell me about the story. Why'd you decide to come up with a ceramic product?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a DIY enthusiast myself. I got into doing ceramic coatings just on my own car, and I noticed that there's none in stores or anything, so it wasn't really as accessible. So that was my first thought when I came up with a product, is I want it for everyone.
And this is something that you can do yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some things you have to consider if you're going to do this on your own and not take it to a pro?
It is definitely time consuming. You have to know what you're doing. You have to completely decontaminate the paint and everything, but it's worth it if you want to save the money.
Lots of videos online about how to decontaminate the paint and prep it and everything for ceramic coating, and you can save a lot of money, like you mentioned. How long is the coating going to last once I put it on?
So it lasts about 3 years.
All right, so it lasts 3 years, but it can probably be augmented if I use the graphene spray as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you can find the graphene spray, you can find the ceramic at MontDetailShop.com. Protect your vehicle. It's going to last a long, long time. It's going to save you a lot of money. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, and more great products for your vehicle up next. Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon studio.
Hey Len, give me a hand. Let's do some ohms of resistance measurement on these two wires. We'll grab that first wire right there, and what do you think about this wire? It looks brand new?
It does. It looks good. Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong. Look at that. 2/10, that's not a lot. And then this one, what would you say about this one?
I'd say this one's going to be a lot worse.
Yeah, it's shot, isn't it? Let's go across it. Man, let's see that pull tight. Should be about 2/10. Yeah, it's going to be about the same.
Well, that doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. That's why we want to measure voltage drop, not ohms of resistance, especially in heavy amp circuits. What's voltage drop? Well, you can see it right here. Actually took this circuit, it's 12 volts on there, and you can see it comes around. That 12 volts, that light should be burning with 12 volts, but it's only burning with 6 volts. Why is that? Well, you see that corrosion down there? That's eating up another 6 volts. Now, voltage drop can catch that because the first bulb dropped 6 volts, and the second corrosion dropped 6 volts, and that's why it's not burning bright. That could be a problem, Lynn. Got a starter circuit right here, which is really cool. You give me a hand, we'll switch over to volts. And what we can do is we can check voltage drop of this. So kind of weird, I'm gonna go on the positive and then you're gonna go on the starter positive. So positive to positive, and then what I'm gonna do is turn it over. Watch the meter, we'll see what kind of voltage drop we have. Yeah, 2/10 of a volt, that's not bad. You can't have more than 5/10 on the whole circuit, 2/10 on the ground side, 3/10 on the positive. So I'll switch over to the negative side now, and you go on the negative case, and I'll go ahead and turn it over again so we can get those electrons flowing. And we got about 1/10 there, so we're in good shape. Now, the problem with that is, could cause voltage drops is things like this. Any kind of corrosion on the wire, we'll talk about in a minute, but right now we're talking about a burnt wire, that's heat. The length of the wire, well, that matters. You put an amp in your trunk and wrap up 50 feet, that's a problem. That's a lot of resistance just in air. And then you ever seen this before, Len?
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
That's a bad connection.
Yeah, nobody around here did that, that's for sure. This is going to be a big problem with resistance. Also, what about corrosion, Len? That causes resistance as well?
Right. We find corrosion is the problem. You know, the elusive green wire that can sometimes indicate something's not working properly. A wire's gotten corroded, some water got in there. Well, we actually have a product that helps displace the moisture. It's our multi-purpose lube or our metal protector. It'll help displace or push the moisture out of there. Simply spray it on, wipe it off as best you can, and go back to work.
Perfect. So all those connectors, anywhere on electrical circuit, you don't want any moisture, especially if you're working on a boat or saltwater environment. That's horrible. Just go to amsoil.com. Check out the metal protector and all their other awesome products.
My name is Chris Bentley, and this is my 1950 Ford F1. This started out as a 1950. I've basically redone everything. I've owned it for 3 years. We've swapped the motor. It's backed with an AOD transmission, 4 9-inch rear end, full AccuAir air ride suspension, brand new interior. I upgraded to the Holley digital dash. I found the truck in Tennessee. It belonged to a farmer who owned a lot of collision shops. He passed away, unfortunately, so the family was auctioning off some of his vehicles. I was able to get a hold of this one. I still stay in contact with the family. I send them pictures of the upgrades. If I'm ever back that way, they always invite me to stop by and let them check it out. I cherish it, and I know they're glad that somebody like me got a hold of it. I go to car shows almost every weekend. A lot of times I'm one of the younger ones there. It's nice to see that the younger generation is still restoring these older cars. I've had some help with some paint and things like that that I'm not the best at. Basically everything I've done, if I didn't do the work myself, it was my vision. This is definitely a big head turner. All ages, all groups. I think it's actually the biggest with the older ladies. They all seem to love it. The air ride was definitely what set it to the next level. The stance changed everything, made it a whole new truck. Not to mention it just rides like a Cadillac.
What do you have on this truck that's from steel rubber?
My door seals, they've definitely made the road noise a lot quieter, sealed out all the water, so I'm real happy with those. I know that I can contact them if I need any other seals. If they don't have them, they'll custom make them for me. I really do appreciate that.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store. Classic Industries, your one-stop shop for all restoration and performance parts and accessories. And by Custom AUTOSOUND, audio for the great classics, customs, and street rods.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now, we all love to go, but we all need to stop. Now, brakes are such an important part of the equation when it comes to any vehicle, Boris. At BrakeX, how do you approach making brakes differently from the other OEM manufacturers out there?
Yeah, so we believe that the quality of your brakes should never be compromised, and being able to stop is really just the baseline of our products. And on top of that, there's the level of control you get, the amount of confidence you have whenever you need to stop your vehicle, and then there's pad life, there's sustainability and everything.
So how do you build your brakes that makes them different?
Yeah, so when you look at our rotors over here, all of them are made of what we call a carbon-induced formula. The amount of carbon that they have inside the rotors are 10% higher than what you usually get in the market, except of those what we call high carbon.
And a high carbon brake would be something for a racing application.
Yeah.
But this is for an OEM replacement application here.
Yes.
So what does a higher carbon content do for you?
It holds your rotors a little structure a little bit better than others. It's more stretchable. It's more resistant to cracks, and helps performance, and your rotors do not wrap in extreme temperatures.
And the extreme temperatures are the enemy of brakes when it comes to expanding and contracting, so you've kind of steeled these against that. And let's talk about the different models you have here. This is sort of a basic OEM replacement, and we're talking about value here. This is, with all the brakes you make, you're talking about bang for the buck here. So these are a high quality brake. How is this one different from the standard OEM replacement?
Yeah, so material-wise, they're all the same. This one is coated. It's fully what we call geomech coated, so it's fully rust-proof. Hub bearings and the outside part, wherever your brake pads are not gonna be in contact with, is protected by the coating.
Gotcha, and it's just a cooler looking brake for those who maybe are not putting it on a work vehicle or a daily driver or something like that.
Yeah.
Very good. And then moving down the line here, we've got a drilled rotor. What are the advantages of that?
So these guys, the drilled holes really helps getting the heat wave away from your rotors, and they cool down a little bit faster than all other kinds of rotors.
And the slotted rotors, sort of the same concept?
Yep, it's sort of the same concept, but on top of that, there's these slots. They kind of work like a blade. They pierce through your brake pad, so you get a little bit extra stopping power.
A little extra grip the way they're curved like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. With your brakes, it's not just what goes into them, it's what you like to keep out of them. What are a couple of the elements you want to make sure there's not a whole lot of in here? Yeah,
so the leading cause of cracks in your brake rotors are sulfur and phosphorus, and we strictly control those two compounds in the metal in less than 0.2%.
How does that compare with other brakes that are out there?
We all usually try to really control it to less than 0.2%, but the level of deviation in other manufacturers are higher. So we are very strict in that element.
And now let's talk about the pads here. This is more of a racing application here, these pads. In fact, you're a racer yourself. Yeah. So you've applied all of that knowledge to making brakes and brake pads here. So what are some advantages of BrakeX's pads?
So all of our brake pads, no matter if it's a racing line or if it's OE replacement, they are baked, what we call heat treated. They're baked after they are formed, and what it does is this friction material part of the pads is going to bond better with the backing plate, so it doesn't fall off, it doesn't crack after periods that you use.
And I don't know how many times I've taken a brake off and that just falls right off the backing plate. And it's because of all that heat and all the heat and cooling and everything. So this is
Yes.
This adds to the integrity and adds to the life of the brakes as well. And you guys thought of details too. You have the OEM replacement pads over there, and these are the clips that hold them on. These look a lot beefier, a lot different from the ones I see when I get brakes out of the auto parts store.
Yeah, so a lot of people actually they wanted to reuse their OEM clips instead of using those that comes with the brakes that they use for replacement. But that's something we're in mind too. These comes fully stainless, and they fit your car with no issue.
When we get over to the OEM replacement type pads, there's one little detail that you've paid attention to that I think is very, very cool, and it's the shim on the back. How is that different from others I might find?
Yeah, so when you look at our shims, actually you can touch it and you can feel it.
Yep.
This part, and the back part, these are rubbers. Wrapped in the middle is a piece of steel, and that's also fully stainless. So These are the magic that does to the pads and make sure it's silent.
Okay, cool. So the noise reduction, that's a big part
It's
with
fully
brakes. It
silent.
can be really irritating.
Yeah, because without these, they're going to be squeaking. They're going to be running around your caliper. And with these on, it's going to stick.
You guys thought of everything. We know some of our friends in Canada are watching. How popular are you in Canada?
So we are the #1 bestseller on Amazon.ca for brake kits. So brake pads, brake rotors.
Get some brakes from BrakeX and find out why the folks from Canada know what they are talking about. Brake-X.com for braking at its excellence. Well, we knew Mike Sharon was cool because we made him our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week a few months back. Well, now Mike has taken the coolness factor up a notch. Mike took home a win a few weeks back in the No Drama Racing Series up in the Northeast. In the final, round 6, Mike took on teammate and 2-time champion Jeff the King Krensley. The race was close all the way, and Sharon took the win by 9 thousandths of a second. The win moved Sharon into 7th in the season point standings. So Mike Sharon is once again the PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. Way to go, Mike Sharon. If you or someone you know should be our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week, send us a note. Dave at MotorheadGarage.tv or go to MotorheadGarage.tv and tell us your story. That's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back in 7 days. We hope to see you then on Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com.